Hey everyone, in this video I'm going to explain how to determine the domain and the range of a function. Okay, well in general the domain are the values that x is allowed to have, but the range the value that f of x can have. Well, I'm going to explain this example to be clearer, to make everything clearer, okay? So here this function is defined everywhere. The domain of this function is R. Why? Because x is allowed to have every value. There is no restriction on x. Okay? So we determine the domain. To determine the range of f of x, we start by the domain. We have that x from the domain that x is between minus infinity and infinity, right? So x squared is between 0 and infinity. If we add 1 to the three terms, we get that x squared plus 1 is between 1 and infinity. Okay, and this is f of x. So f of x is between 1 and infinity. This is the range of the function. Okay, let's give another example. Let's take the function f of x equal to 1 minus radical x. This function is defined when the expression under the radical is greater than or equal to 0. In general, always, if we have a radical and an expression under the radical, the function is defined when the expression under the radical is greater than or equal to 0. Okay, so here f of x is defined when the expression under the radical, that is x, it's greater than or equal to 0. So the domain of f is equal to 0 infinity. Okay, it's closed. It's not like this. Why? Because x is allowed to have the value 0. Now to determine the range of f, we start like we did before by the domain. So we put that x is between 0 and infinity. So radical x is also between 0 and infinity. So minus radical x is between minus infinity and 0. So if we add 1 to all sides, we get that 1 minus x radical x. This is f of x. So the range is minus infinity 1. Okay, let's give a third example. The function f of x equal to radical 5x plus 10. Okay, this function, like we said before, it's defined when the expression under the radical, that is 5x plus 10, it has to be greater than or equal to 0 for f of x to be defined. Okay, so 5x should be greater than or equal to minus 10, so x should be greater than or equal to minus 10 over 5, so x should be greater than or equal to 2. So the domain of f is minus 2, infinity. Now to determine the range, we start by the domain. We have that x is between 2 and infinity, minus 2. Okay, so 5x is between minus 10 and infinity. If we add 10 everywhere, we get that 5x plus 10 is between 0 and infinity. So f of x is between 0 and infinity. Okay.